I can't see anything. I believe we're live. Hey, it's Sue Greenwald here with Awakened Stories. I'm here today again with Anthony Zender, Super Soldier. How are you, Anthony?
Good today, Sue.
Awesome,
Yep,
awesome.
it's good to be back again, and I'm ready to get into today's conversation.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I know you said you had something you wanted to discuss, so why don't you start off with that? I'll pop in with questions. You know I can do that,
Hmm.
and then we'll go to Q&A at the end.
Yeah, okay. That sounds good. I just kind of wanted to go over kind of like a little more in depth of the timeline of my awakening.
I'd love that.
Um, and just kind of some experiences that happened to me during that time, me being led to certain things, having supernatural experiences, seeing UFOs, some of the UFO experiences that I had, because I actually have these tapes as
Oh,
well.
you do?
Yeah, oh yeah, and you
Oh,
can yeah on my Facebook and stuff. So
okay, okay,
the ones that I speak about, they're actually tapes, so
okay.
people can go to them.
Excellent.
But when you start having the UFOs just popping up everywhere, around you, you start to realize that there's more going on than meets the eye,
Right.
than the reality that you've been told about. And then that's when you start to wake up to, that there is something more going on. And in 2012, I was just, I was, that was a big year. Everybody knew that as a big year, but that was the year that I began my awakening and first started having seeing lights in the sky. And I just remember the first instance was when I was at my grandmother's house. I just She lives out in the forests of Washington, and that's actually a prime place for a lot of sightings
Sightings, yeah.
is the Pacific Northwest, and especially where she is at. She's in Tenino, Washington, and so I just remember going outside one day, and then I remember, or one night, and then I look up in the sky, and then I just saw a dancing light in the sky, and it was just sitting there, and it was just moving around in sporadic angles, and I knew it wasn't a star, and then another one appeared, and then they started like playing with each other. It looked like
Right.
they were like playing with each other, and I was just sitting there like, whoa, this is something amazing. And then that night, I remember that was the first time I really got um, an experience. And then that night, I went to bed, and I actually remember like being look feeling like I was being taken up into a tornado. Like I remember like because I went to sleep, but I remember like feeling like I was being taken up in a tornado, and then I remember being returned back down, um, all in one night, and that was because I was having interactions with these
Right. Ships.
crafts and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, so that was when it began, and then from there, I went from not reading at all, like I used to not be a reader at all, and then all of a sudden overnight, like I went, yeah, I started reading everything.
You had curiosity because you wanted to know more about what was happening to you and what was out there, I think.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm. And that was
yeah,
when I opened the floodgates because
yeah.
I devoured everything, in sight to learn about the mysteries, and the nature of reality, and all these different books led me to different parts of the truth. And actually, one of them was the ancient secret of the flower of life. And I note that symbol, the flower of life, is what Smarty
Smarter
uses
uses.
on
Yeah, yeah.
all of his stuff. So when I opened up that door and then like learned all that knowledge, figured out that the flower of life had been, etched in the pyramids, like
Mhm.
laser engraved in the pyramids, and obviously it had been an ancient symbol that had been, you know, um,
It's all over the world.
Right, right.
It's in all sorts of statues and sacred sites around the world that
Mhm.
we know of. And I'm sure there's many more than what we've been told.
Right, right.
But
Like
yeah,
China,
yeah,
India, Egypt. It's all like Peru,
yeah,
it's there. But
yeah.
I learned.
That is a fabulous book. And I think that came out in 99. So there's Ancient Secrets of the Flower of Life, Volume 1 and
Yeah,
2. And
too.
then he's got maybe 3 or 4 other books, which are fabulous for just learning the basics of spirituality.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. So what I did when I first read them is the first time I just read them, I glossed over some of the more technical parts that talked about like sacred geometry and angles and stuff like whatever. I'm just assuming the math worked.
Mhm.
So I read it so I could absorb that. And then I reread it like serious. Let's get down and like understand this math, right?
No
Not
one
fun.
wants to understand that.
What's that?
But it is the secret of the universe.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
the way
yeah,
everything's made.
yeah.
The universe is made of math.
Yeah, that's a
So
really good series of books.
right, right.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just opened my whole eyes. Obviously, I learned about the Atlanteans and where the civilization, Egyptian civilization, came from, and they talk about it in that book. And that was when I first learned of the truth of other civilizations that were
Right.
higher consciousness.
Right.
And that's why in my book, my first book, Son of the Morning, I wrote it with 33 chapters, but every chapter I begin with a passage from the Emerald Tablets of Thoth the Atlantean.
Right.
And because I had learned about Thoth the Atlantean through those books and had a connection, because he's the god of magic, wisdom, time, and
Writing,
writing,
communication.
communication, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can honestly say I'm like because they said that his spirit would awaken in people at the time, and it was doing
Right.
so in me
Right.
because I just became an author, I became a scribe myself, and everything just started coming back once I learned about the ancient secret of the flower of life, and then that led me to like other books like Awakening to Zero Point, and just I went on I just devoured everything, and then I started having supernatural experiences because before I had never read, I had never meditated, but then I went from that to just like being a meditator, being a scribe, just reading, and um, had an experience where I was sitting at the end of a dock on just kind of like a mystical. It was on at the end of a dock at a lake, and it was a mystical day, and there was just mist all over the place. And I went to this into this dock and sat there for about 45 minutes and was meditating, and then all of a sudden out of my third eye I see the all-seeing eye. It became very, very apparent to me, and I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, that's an eye. I'm like, I'm seeing an eye looking at me. And I'm like, what's going on? And then I saw it blinking, started blinking. Then I'm like, whoa, I'm having an out of body experience. I'm having a vision. I actually got to a point to where I was able, obviously, to leave my body, and I didn't know what I was consciously doing, but it happened. And so I saw the all-seeing eye, and it started blinking at me. And then all of a sudden, what happened was I was floating over the desert. And I remember seeing palm trees and sand and everything. And then I identified where I was, and I was like, okay, I'm in a desert. I'm floating over the desert right now. And then I remember looking up and seeing the Great Pyramid in front of me. And then that was when I had learned about the Illuminati, the Enlightened Ones, and that was that led me to understand that the whole myth about the Illuminati has been tainted for a reason. Because if I say the word Illuminati,
It's got a negative
yeah,
connotation.
people
Right.
automatically
Yeah.
go to, okay, it's the dark ones,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is true that there are the cabal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There are the elite, but they actually part of their keeping people from the truth is steering people away from the actual enlightened ones, the Illuminati, and making them seem bad, and so that people don't go down that path, because the real enlightened ones hold the knowledge of everything, and the knowledge of the truth, the knowledge of the grand unified theory of everything, which unifies all, everything: philosophy, science, mathematics, psychology. It unifies everything, and they hold that because they are an advanced civilization society that have gotten beyond us, that are actually communicating to us, um, to help raise us up. So the enlightened ones are advanced like ascended masters, and that was another thing as well with the flower of life. The whole thing about the flower of life, it also contains the Merkaba in it, which is our interdimensional vehicle that surrounds us. We have one tetrahedron going down and one going up.
Right.
And this is what allows us to be able to travel interdimensionally, like through our dreams and stuff. This is our vehicle that we travel in. And then I learned about that, and then I learned about interdimensional travel, and then that allowed me to be able to know what I was doing consciously, with my experiences when I would dream.
Right. Excellent.
Yeah.
So they say that we have, they're calling them 8 original cells. When there's conception, the first things that develop are 8 cells in a Merkaba shape inside it. We're going to call it a secret compartment inside of our heart. And I've heard, now I don't know if this is true, but if a surgeon were to go into your heart and touch that secret compartment, that you would die. So I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I've also heard.
Well, it probably is, because the thing is, the whole problem actually that is still trying to be figured out by scientists,
Yeah.
is what is called the Cartesian dualism. And this was a concept that Rene Descartes, the one that said, "I think, therefore I am,"
Yeah.
came up with, because he was the first one to realize that mind and matter were actually like, there were two different things, but they were actually of one component. So he acknowledged mind and matter being separate, but what has been yet to be done by science is being able to unite mind and matter together, because they're just purely material,
Right.
physical.
Right.
And what the Illuminati and the enlightened ones have done is they've been able to solve the Cartesian dualism by uniting mind and matter, and making them one, and acknowledging that mind is like, because we are in these bodies, but our minds exist in in another domain, a dimensionless domain that lies outside of space and time. And our mind is able to project into these bodies that operate in the physical domain. So these two domains, because there's one domain that is dimensionless, which is domain of mind, and then there's dimensional, which is physical matter. And we are actually existing, our minds exist in that dimensionless domain and project into these bodies, like a drone pilot.
So that's what would allow us to be in multiple dimensions. So let's say
Right.
we astral travel, we go to sleep, we do missions, we do this or that. We think that we're in bed for, let's say, 8 hours, haha. We're sleeping for 8 hours and we're physically here, and that's where our mind and all that is. But yet it can be in other consciousnesses out there doing whatever we're doing.
Yep.
Which gets super complex.
It does. And because that's
Yeah.
when you're in a dimensionless domain, which is the domain of mind, soul, spirit. That's why when you're in your dreams, you can be in the past, you can be in the future, things can switch up like that. Like, that's because it's in a dimensionless domain. This is a dimensional domain. That's why everything, it's linear time. And what I actually found out as well was the universe it's a 6 dimensional universe. And so three dimensions are real and 3 dimensions are imaginary. And so in the way that science explains it is we live in a 4 dimensional space-time reality where there's 1 dimension of time, which is the fourth dimension, but there's actually 3 dimensions of time. The scientists haven't figured this out, but with the including of mind, this gives you 2 extra dimensions of time that can be navigated. That actually, in a 6 dimensional framework, time travel is possible.
I'm gonna need a flow chart on that,
I
because damn,
I know,
right?
The 6 dimensional framework of the
Yeah,
universe
yeah.
is what the elite and the secret space program actually keep hidden from us, because we are still in a 4 dimensional framework of understanding, which is not the actual nature of reality. So we still got it. Science will never actually figure out this until they acknowledge mind, but they won't ever do that.
Okay.
Because they say that the brain is what creates mind, but it's actually the mind is it creates matter.
Right.
Is what the real reality is.
In my opinion, the brain is more like a a transmitter receiver,
It is,
right?
it is.
You take in the information and it translates it.
Yes, yeah, it is. It's the receiver, the antenna, that broadcast and receives,
Yeah.
all of our thoughts, because you got to know what a thought is, to know like where it's coming from. And the Illuminati actually explained that, like what a thought is. And it's actually called it's a wave. It's a waveform and a frequency, because this other domain that's a mental domain is it's a frequency domain. It's all made of frequency. So that is yeah, that's the framework, the 6 dimensional framework of the universe.
Interesting. Now, you talked about in 2012, you were starting to see the all-seeing eye, or whatever we want to call it. I actually had the same experience in around that time, between 2010 and 2012. Whenever I would meditate, I would see eyes all the time. And I always thought it was interesting. Like, I didn't know what it was, but I saw it. And one of our viewers has also said that she recently saw an eye. So very interesting, right?
Yes, it is. And for me, that was they are watching me, my mentors, because when I came across the Illuminati, I learned about the Holy Grail. I learned about the secret religion of illumination, which is the supreme form of Gnosticism, which says that it is possible for any soul to become God, because each one of us have the divine spark in us. And then I learned about that. I learned how that was connected, the Holy Grail, the hero's journey. And I opened up a mansion of wonders when I found the Enlightened Ones, because they actually have a website called the Armageddon Conspiracy.
Oh,
Yeah, because it is the Armageddon Conspiracy, because it's the ultimate conspiracy of them all, is who the Enlightened, who the Illuminati are. So on this website, they came out into the open to present themselves and who they are and what knowledge they have.
oh,
And
interesting.
with over 233 books they have written, explaining the religion of the secret religion of illumination, and how it is to the path of becoming God.
Interesting. I haven't heard of that, so I'm very excited
No,
to
one.
check
No,
that out.
I'm telling you, I unless I've only found that people that I've told, um, they have will never find it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, unless you're actually like,
Okay.
unless you're able to go past the wall that's been set up, because most people in the community even associate the Illuminati with the dark ones.
Right.
So they're
Right.
stuck in just half truth kind of thing. But I was able to go past that and actually find the real enlightened ones who definitely illuminated me. And they are the ones that have always been against the elite. Like throughout the ages, they have been against the elite. They have been responsible for revolutions in the past, like the American Revolution, the French Revolution, the Russian Revolution. They've been the group, the organization behind those revolutions, and those revolutions were actually for humanity's greatest good, because we've always been looking to free ourselves from the elite and the enslavement, and the Illuminati have been behind,
Right.
the revolutions of the past.
And here in the US, we like to think that in 1776, we had the American Revolution and we disassociated from England.
Mm-hmm.
That isn't really true. That's not been true.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's the thing, is the revolutions of the past, they've never been able to be carried out to their extent to where we are liberated completely. Like, in the French Revolution, they actually got to the point where they guillotined the king, the tyrannical king that was keeping everybody enslaved. And there have been grand masters of the Illuminati, like Adam Weishaupt. If you look him up on the internet, there's tons of just misinformation and disinformation on him, painting him as a bad person, because he actually was someone that was against the church and the state at the time, and it was for a like liberating, but they make that seem bad, because they but it's not.
It's a way to put us back in the box. Like Sinead O'Connor ripped up the picture of the Pope, like what was that in the, I don't know, 70s, 80s, 90s, and she was maligned for that. Mm-hmm. But yet we're finding out that she wasn't wrong.
Right. And that's the enlightened ones have always been opposed to the elite, to dynastic families that rule in perpetuity, for age after age after age, passing down their wealth, so their descendants can inherit it and just keep the power in the families, which is those 13 families. That's what they've been able to do.
Right.
So actually, one part of that is actually because we have to take their wealth away from them, in order to be able to equal things out.
Right.
So that's what's going to happen. And in the government of the future, in the meritocracy, there will be 100% inheritance tax. It means, what you earn in your life will go to the state. It will go to the Commonwealth, and then the best people will be in the best positions to handle that. So that your assets and everything will go to the right places instead of being utilized in a nefarious way.
Right. I'm not sure I like the sounds of that either, because I don't really want anyone else making a decision about my stuff. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm saying?
I know that it is one thing that I'm gonna have to get through, but it's the only way that because they'll just keep passing down their wealth until we're able to take it away from them.
And I think that their wealth is being taken away now. A lot of them are being scooped up for treason and all sorts of nasty crimes against humanity. We all know that. That's watching this now, right? That's going to hopefully be coming out very soon in the public eye, and I think their wealth will be taken away from them.
Yeah, well, it is right now, and
you might know more about that than I do. But
it is, but there is going to be a redistribution, and part of this is having a meritocratic future is just basically getting rid of privilege and nepotism and cronyism, and replacing it with merit and talent and people that are able to be that are qualified to actually be in positions of leadership, because that will be better for us.
Totally.
Because the reason why the world is the way it is now is because people of privilege have been in power.
Yes. And of course they have long lifespans.
Yes, yeah,
And
because they have the technology that they hold back.
yeah, yeah. So they have long lifespans. So their wealth just rolls forward and forward while our wealth is being drained from us.
And it's like the movie Elysium. You can just see the elite as them in Elysium. Like we're down here on the ground level, fighting for scraps and stuff like that. And they've already gone to
They're living a life of
yeah,
privilege.
beyond.
Yeah.
They actually show the med
Med
beds in
beds.
there and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, they show a lot of stuff.
That's a great movie if you haven't seen it with Matt Damon. And yeah, it shows how Earth is polluted, overpopulated. People are really struggling, and it's a horrible situation. So very interesting movie.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
And that feels like where we were headed, other than I think they've been trying to depopulate us for a while. So that's the way they view us, as basically
Just like wretched creatures.
yes,
You know.
wretched creatures.
Yeah, but we're not. We're divine beings. So
Yeah.
so we just gotta remember that, and then be that in the world.
Yeah. So let's go back to your
Be
story.
creators, because we are creators.
Yeah.
Like they know that, and,
We don't know that.
right, and that's why they have mind control programs and stuff. Is because they are creating reality through us,
Right.
and they know that. Like
Right.
so, once we wake up to that, and then we realize that what we are thinking matters, like we can control what we think, and then we can actually make it
Right.
matter and manifest it. So yeah.
Right. Awesome. So let's go back to your story of waking up. We started reading books, gaining more knowledge, Then what happened?
Yeah.
It never ends, obviously. You're never going to be done with it.
No,
Ever.
definitely
None of us
not.
will ever be done.
Yeah,
But
it's a process, but started having more experiences with the sightings. I was actually seeing lights in the sky, where I have this on my Facebook, but there's one where it sits there, and then it just starts darting around the sky, and then it gets to a point where it stops, and then I literally was thinking in my mind, I was thinking go left, and then
it did.
before I even finished the thought, it goes left. So it was sentient to my thoughts, and then I was like, okay.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
I'm like, okay, these things are aware of me. I'm obviously in connection. And then the sightings kept growing. I had another sighting where I saw, basically it looked like a scepter that was in the sky, like it was just straight up, and then it had a glass dome on the top of it, and then there was like I could see like structures on the inside of the glass dome, and it was just sitting there floating across the sky. And this I it reminded me of a floating city, like an advanced floating city. And I had been told by my source in the ACIO that you'd be seeing floating cities in the sky, and then lo and behold, I'm seeing a scepter with a dome and a city in it floating across the sky. So I'm having all these different visual sightings, in my awakening.
Was that a vision or a dream with a scepter in the city?
That was real.
Okay, so you like saw it with your eyes open or closed?
It was
open. And then how big was it?
It
Like,
was huge.
huge.
It was huge because it was far. It was far in the atmosphere. It was
Yeah.
further off.
Yeah.
But the where it was, if it had like came closer, that thing would have been like as huge as
Yeah.
like the city or something like that.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
I just the sightings started to go up. The memories started to come back, and I just had the experiences with my mentor Ramtha, the Enlightened One, and with the Illuminati, coming into contact with the Illuminati, and these being my mentors, with guiding my experience in my ascension, because I realized that this is my ascension.
Right.
Like I'm going through my ascension experience, and my consciousness is rising. I'm doing the spiritual work to get to the next level. to get out of 3D where everybody's stuck at, you know,
Right.
and that's what this world needed, was beings to come here, which we volunteered for, you know,
Yeah.
volunteered for, we did
Voluntold.
voluntold, you know, but
Yep,
yeah,
yep.
we volunteered for this, and then we agreed to get wiped and come here and not remember, but you know, we remember, and then we remember why we came, and then we go on our mission. You know, we start to remember our mission here, and what it's about, and then so as that was happening, I just remembered more and more why I was here, um, and that allowed me to disclose and be on my disclosure mission and help raise the vibration of this world, because like I told you, there's only only a handful of people in the world that are a handful of people that can change the consciousness of a world.
Right.
And so we are those ones that are doing that.
Getting this kind of information out there is crucial. So letting the, we'll call them average person, know that all of this stuff is real. Like they have so much doubt because they've been programmed for their whole life about things, right? So just, you know, like gently presenting it to them
Mhm.
occasionally. Once they start to see it, then they see it in their outside world and it anchors it in, and then they're ready for the next step. So you have to tiptoe with a new person, you know. Can't
Yep.
shove this all down.
Yeah, I tried that. I tried that. You know, like,
Usually they're like, get
it's like, oh
back,
my God.
get back.
Yeah, yeah. But you learn through the experience that, you know, it just the spoon fed, you know, people can only take on so much. But as time's going on now, more people are looking for the answers,
Right.
you know, and I actually, the Pythagorean Illuminati have the answers to everything. Like in their work, it is the greatest gift to humanity, and the greatest compendium of knowledge that has ever been put together that I've ever come across. So, and it does explain everything.
And so where could we find that if we were interested?
The Armageddon Conspiracy.
Okay, same
yeah.
same website then.
Yep. And
Okay.
then they have a list of all their books,
Okay.
explaining every single subject that they explain, which is, I mean, you'll really find out there's nothing that you can't think of that they haven't completely explained
Oh,
mathematically and scientifically, because that's how they're able to. Because if you want to explain the nature of God to a scientist, you can't go armed with a holy book.
right.
You know, you have to know the science of the soul and how reality is actually
Structure.
mathematical, and it's made of mathematics.
Yeah.
So that's what the Illuminati have, that knowledge, and contain it in all their work, which is the grand unified theory of everything.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm here to teach that, and pass that knowledge on, because this is the knowledge that will get us to the next level.
Right. Right.
And they've already done it. So like they said, because when I found them, they used the Matrix as the ultimate kind of movie, initiatory movie to wake people up. And they refer to themselves like they are the crew of the Nebuchadnezzar. You know, they're on the outside, you know, fighting against the war for freedom, you know,
Right.
trying to get through to people that are still connected in here, and they're trying to liberate them,
Right.
break them free
Right.
through the knowledge.
Right.
Because that's how you're gonna be able to be free.
Well, people need to want the red pill.
That's
Okay,
the key.
so we know it's not an easy path. Like we've been on there. It's hard to understand. You go through a lot of trials and misunderstanding and all that. You're ridiculed by your friends and family. It's getting better though. I think people are more open to it now than they were. Like think of it like 20 years ago even. Okay. You'd go to the library or the bookstore, and there was no books on this kind of stuff. There were a few. Flower of Life was one of them, okay?
Right.
But like there were very few books that were really truthful and good. Now you go, there's quite a big section of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
Getting better and better.
It's an indication that the consciousness is rising.
Yeah. And of course now we've got YouTube. So like not a lot of people read anymore, unfortunately, but they will watch videos all day long. So there's a lot of good information out there. The problem is we have to sift through it all.
Right,
A
right.
book doesn't mean it's good either. I mean, but
There's there's a lot of misinformation and
yeah,
disinformation out there,
yeah,
but the how actual intelligence agents are trained
yeah,
to get to the truth is you have to take it all in. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's true, even if it's not, like you don't be parochial, just focusing on one thing. You have to take it all in
right,
to get to the final the truth.
right,
So
right.
yeah, like you said, you have to want the red pill.
Yeah. And sometimes, like I think we said this the other day, you're like, geez, I'm tired. I feel beaten up. I wish I could go back to a normal life. And that lasts maybe 15 to 30 minutes, right?
Yeah,
Once you're in, you
yeah.
can't
Like
get out.
even
Yeah,
even
yeah.
you know in the because the Matrix, like they even have that part where the guy Cypher, like he talks to Neo and he's like, I bet you wish you would have taken the blue pill, huh? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but
It's,
that's real. That's a real thing.
it seems like an easy life. You work and you go home and you eat and watch TV all night and go to bed and do it again. Not all the stuff we're going through, but I wouldn't want that.
But yeah, if you, I mean, unless you're working for yourself, you know, you're not liberated in the way you should be,
Yeah,
and they're using you as an energy source
right,
and just draining you.
right.
And that's why everybody's so tired and drained and stuff
Yep,
and wondering what's
yep,
going on.
yep.
And it's like, are you doing what you're here to do in this life? You know, like, and if you are, you that's good. But if you're not, then you're probably either going to
Right,
get it or not. And if you don't, you're going to go around another cycle
right,
to figure it out.
right. Okay. So, so your mission is basically to help enlighten and inform everyone that you can come across,
That is true. Like
basically.
just raising the consciousness
Yeah,
with the knowledge that I have of disclosure about what I know about the secret space program. You know, just to let people know that it's not, you know, life's not about, you know, working a Monday through Friday, you know, going to the club on Saturday and having fun. You know, there's way more to that. There's spiritual evolution involved, and because that's what scientists are missing as well, is because they're basically saying the universe is a lifeless, mindless machine. You know, that doesn't have a purpose like to it, but actually through evolution, you know, of what is called the dialectic, we are evolving into higher beings, and actually we're becoming like angels.
well, as King
Yeah.
Smarty says, we're going to have like multiple supernatural powers. We'll be invincible pretty much.
Oh yeah.
We'll be able to do all sorts of cool stuff that
Oh
we
yeah.
see on TV and in the movies. We can theoretically do now, but we just have forgotten how to do it.
Yeah, I've had the memories and stuff of being able to teleport, being able to levitate, being able to, you know, do telekinesis and stuff. And I know that because in your dreams too, you can get your future self does communicate with yourself now, so you can get experiences from your future
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
and but you just got to be able to determine um, that that's what's
yeah.
happening.
Yeah. I am a big fan of meditation because that helped me a lot as well. And it's not an easy thing to learn. So what kind of meditation did you start with? Like what has your meditation practice been like?
That yeah, that was the key for my liberation.
Yeah.
Because when I was from Romp Day of the Enlightened, when I learned how to release myself uh, from the demiurge, you know, from the false consciousness that's here by getting up every day. I would get up every day. I would you know get some incense. I would get some music, you know, and I would sit there and then I would focus on um, an image that I created of what I wanted my dream to be. And I did that every single day for years. And that is what like broke me away from being underneath control of the Demiurge. And so it was no specific, it was just basically my own meditation that I made up.
So you just sat in silence. Now, when you say an image,
First thing, but like the main point about it was when I woke up first thing in the morning.
First
That was
thing in
the
the
first thing I did for years.
Ah, all right. Give me an example of the image, like an image. Like
Mhm.
I need to understand that more.
Like if you wanted, if you wanted, like, say, a house, or you
Ah,
wanted or you wanted, money or something like that, or you would draw a dollar or something
okay,
like that, or
okay,
and then you just focus on that, or the house, you just draw that house, whatever it is that you want. Your future, you draw
yeah,
yourself being happy, you draw yourself like that, you draw a picture of a happy person, and you just focus on
right,
that image, and it will
right.
it will happen, and
Right.
that's how easy it is.
So it's kind of like a vision board in a way, like, and I don't know, for the viewer, like you might create a collage of things that you want to manifest in your life, whether it be trips, houses, cars, whatever it might be.
Mhm.
And then you look at it and then you can envision yourself driving the car, sitting on the porch of your house, whatever it might be. And the more feeling you can give that vision, the quicker it's going to come to you.
Yep,
Kind of the same thing.
that is the same
Kind of the
thing.
same thing.
And yeah, it's just key to manifestation is just deciding and allowing. Deciding what you want and then allowing it to happen, and not knowing how it's going to happen.
Right.
And then just keeping on reinforcing it over and over again.
Right.
And then once we're all doing this, once we're all creating from our minds, like actually materializing things, that's what they fear the most, because then we won't need them anymore for anything. We
Right.
don't even need them right now for
We
anything.
don't need them right now, but it's just, the society, we're very entrenched in the material world right now.
Mhm.
So, yeah, we're waking them up though.
Yeah, yeah, we're breaking out. We're breaking
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
There's definitely a plan to help,
yeah, yeah.
people wake up.
But what I might recommend to someone new for meditation, like to sit there in silence for even 20 minutes, is super hard at first. So what I might recommend is a guided meditation. And so you're like listening to a story and it distracts your mind,
That's good.
right? You do that for a while and then you become more comfortable with, being seated and still. And it always helps if you're out in nature. Would you
Oh
agree?
yeah, oh yeah, oh tons, yeah.
Like if you can go out on your porch or if you have a nice yard or whatever, go out and sit there for a while and just, relax and enjoy nature, but try to detach from your physical body. And
Mhm.
it does take practice, but once you get the knack of it, wow, the places you can go.
Because yeah, that's the funny thing too, is because most people associate with outside reality,
Right,
but there's actually the inside
right,
of reality too,
right.
and then that's how you go, because you go in to get out,
Yeah,
and the deeper you go, the more you
yeah,
know.
yeah. And I would basically sometimes ask a specific question, like where is this, or what is this, or what should I do about this? And that one question for that meditation, and what we would get would be fascinating.
Hmm.
What I would get.
Yeah.
And a couple times I didn't listen to it. Well, many times I didn't listen to it. And I learned the hard way. Listen to these messages that you're getting.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. They're coming
Yeah,
in for a reason,
yeah,
to guide you, from your higher self.
yeah.
Yeah,
So King Smarty says we have already broken away. So that is
yeah.
really good news, everybody.
That's
Yay.
good. That is
Yay.
that. I feel that. I
Yeah,
feel
you can feel it.
like each day now. That's what I'm saying, is I'm noticing differences in time, and the way the energy feels and
Yeah.
everything. It's starting to really amp up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You can feel, and we've talked about this recently, the pace of things has increased. So it's so fast. It feels frenzied almost.
yeah, yeah,
It's great.
yeah.
It's great. It's just keeping up with it all
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. It's like the crescendo,
Yeah.
It's I like to I like to say that we're at the finish line, and
Yeah.
the finish line is like the hardest part of the race, because you've raced the whole race. You know what I'm saying? You're dying, you're tired. You see all those people,
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
marathons that are just like, they're giving their last, they're giving their all to
Yeah.
get to but once they're done with the race,
Yeah.
they can relieve, and I know that that's where
Yeah.
what humanity is right now.
Yeah,
Right?
like we're all running up the mountain and we're almost to the top.
Right, right. That's
Yeah, it's so
yeah.
exciting.
We're
So
gonna know.
exciting.
We're gonna know.
Actually, King
Yeah,
Smarty would say we're already at the top. We're going down the other
yeah.
side.
We're already there.
So,
Marty's
don't want
right.
to get in trouble
He,
here,
he
okay?
always corrects me with that too.
It's already happened, okay? So sorry, but
Yeah.
that's how it feels, is the pace has really picked up.
Mhm.
And you can see people are waking up, they're asking more questions, and things are moving fast. It's very good.
Yeah, we're living in the most exciting time
Yeah,
ever
yeah,
right now.
yeah,
And I'm glad to be
yeah,
part of the awakened ones,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah. And we've talked about this before previously, like our group, if you will, has come back to help with for this specific time in history.
Mhm.
So we've come back, I don't know, million, billion, thousands, whatever it might be, years ago. We've gone through lifetime after lifetime, um, experiencing things, learning how things work, playing different roles, right?
Yep.
For this point in history.
Yep. This is the end of the great year, the 26,000 year
Yeah,
cycle. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the end of it. So the last 13,000 years has been darkness, but then this next cycle is obviously going to be
Yeah.
the light.
Yeah. Well, it is very exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, so when you've been doing this on the, we'll call it the human physical level, the meditation and the reading and the writing and all of that learning. In the meantime, you would still be going on missions.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you still are.
yeah.
Okay.
That was, I would be, but doing all this work helped me to recover more memories and stuff like
Right.
that and get more integrated with everything that I was going through.
Yeah.
So I definitely uh, uh I say that meditation is something that has helped me
Yeah.
tremendously in my
Yeah.
life. Like just would be able to control my own mind.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then
Right.
like control my own like breathing
Yeah.
and it's helped me like immensely.
Excellent.
So I'm glad to be able to have that skill and then be able to help show other people because
Right.
the best way for them to learn is to see somebody do it.
Yeah,
So if
someone ahead of you on the ladder or
right,
whatever.
right.
So I want to clarify that the missions that you go on for Secret Space Program, like you will be doing whatever you're doing, sleeping, whatever you're doing, and then you go out on a mission. So you basically, let's say, you're put into a clone body.
Mhm.
Your consciousness is put into whatever kind of body, whether it be human or whatever. You go out and do the mission, which can take moments or years or whatever the time measurement is. And then when you're done with the mission, you come right back to the second that you left
Mhm.
our reality.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
So I want to make that clear to people because it seems like there's some misunderstanding there.
Like I had this cleared up from Peter the Insider about how it looks like when you're gone. Because if you were to take a camera and of yourself um, and put it like you in bed and
Mhm.
they take you, even the camera wouldn't even be able to pick up you being taken because it's like
It's a
it's a
split
blink.
second.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
it's like you just pop pop and then you're back.
Yeah.
So it's like that. It's that fast, but you can be that's a 20, that's a 20 and back right there.
Wow.
like
See, it's really, it's hard to understand it, but knowing that
they
process
can
is
create like a chronospherical bubble is what they say is they're able to create around you and take you out with
okay.
a chronospherical bubble
Okay.
is the technology that they are able to do that with.
Right.
Yeah.
And really our natural beings can do that without technology.
Oh yeah, yeah. And we
So
can do everything.
so that's what we're learning. Like, they're using technology and they're learning that, their way.
Yeah.
We're going to be
Remembering.
doing this.
We're
We're
remembering.
remembering.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing all of that naturally.
Because we were already able to do this before. We
Yeah.
just forgot.
Yeah. And we know our civilization has been wiped out a bunch of times.
Mhm.
Unknown number of times for me, but they've wiped us out. So, I would say it's not 100% our fault that we don't know,
Mhm.
right? How could we know if we haven't been taught, right?
Yeah, well, no, that's true. That's true. It isn't all our fault, but we need help
Right,
sometimes,
right. And just think back to even 20, 30 years ago, the pace of things was slow.
Mhm.
it was so much slower. The days seemed longer, right?
Yeah, they did.
And you
Yeah,
could get so much more done in a day, and it didn't seem as frenzied. Well, now we can feel that pace moving up,
yeah.
right?
And as you know, as we're getting closer to the big crunch,
Yeah,
they're calling it, you
yeah,
know, the end point,
yeah,
that's why time is starting to
yeah,
get distorted, is
yeah,
because we're getting closer to this
yeah,
point. And so time's gonna get a little weird, you know.
yeah, yeah. That's so awesome. Now, do you want to tell us maybe a couple of cool stories about your missions? Not getting anyone in trouble, but like any cool stories of
Mhm.
interactions that
Mhm.
would be interesting for
Okay,
people.
okay. So you know, there's one mission I remember because I'm what is called a Kruger runner. That's basically I'm a spy, a sabotage. Like I go in and I sabotage their 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 technology. I steal their technology. I will also steal blueprints. I will gather information being infiltrated into these nefarious places. But I remember one mission where I was in a just this high rise skyscraper, and I was being chased. I was being chased by some agents, and I remember running down this hallway, and then I remember getting into this elevator, and I remember posting up against the door, and the elevator door closes, and then I remember bullets just riddling through the door, and I'm posted up, and the bullets are flying past me, and then I remember the elevator being cut, the elevator
Cables.
being cut,
Wow.
and then I remember falling like down the whole elevator, smashing on the bottom of the ground. I was okay because I was in my super soldier mode.
Mm.
And I remember getting out of the elevator and then there being agents just lined up everywhere to take me out. And then what I remember running up the walls. I started running and then I ran up the walls like zero gravity. I was running on the walls and then I had two weapons form out of my hands, which I found out were called 3-in-1s because they have different ammunition and stuff. So, but this was from nanotech coming out of my body and forming weapons in my hands. And I remember looking at all the agents on the ground, and I just started simultaneously targeting every one of them and just taking them out while I was running up the wall. And then I woke up.
So you basically captured or took some information,
That was a yeah, that was a
and they knew who you were, and they were
that
after
was
you. Were they humanoid?
those ones. Yeah, they were human,
Okay.
and a lot of the times that's what I'm saying is a lot of the missions I'll be running away. You know,
That's good.
I'll be running away because I'll be caught or something like that,
Yeah.
or my cover will be blown or something like that. But uh, yeah, there was another mission where I remember where and you know I got all these. I've talked about all these missions with my contact in the ACIO, and there was another mission where I remember going into this base. It was in like South America. You know, it was that kind of foliage, jungle foliage, and we were with the team, and we were infiltrating this base. And I remember being in the base, and we right when we got in, we got into a firefight. There was just we got into a firefight with these. I believe they were reptilians because I remember getting captured because we obviously didn't win the firefight. I remember being captured, and I remember like having my hands behind my back, and I remember being walked down this hallway. Then I remember looking out this window, and there's like this trapezoidal window,
Mhm.
and I remember looking out and seeing this like giant um, electromagnetic dish, like antenna, like it was just huge, like very like futuristic looking. And I was on an advanced base, you know, in South America, and an advanced Nazi base in South America. And what happened was at that point I was able to break away and I was able to get free. And then I remember running away, but then they captured me again. And then
Yeah.
I remember being taken somewhere again, but then I was able to get away again a second time. And then I was able to go out to this tarmac, um, like an airfield tarmac. And there was an old World War II transport that was there, and I went in it, and some of my teammates were there waiting for me. And then so we were escaping, and I remember being in this plane, and we took off the plane, and we're in the plane, and then I remember being chased by some Emmy Messerschmitt 109s, which are an old World War II Nazi plane. And I remember three of them being sent out after us. And I remember being in the transport, and I remember looking and seeing them come at us, and they just start strafing around us and like, shooting at us. And then they obviously shot us down, and that's when I woke up from that memory. But that was another infiltration mission, probably a time travel mission that
It
I was
sounds
on,
like it.
because the Nazis are known for their presence being known in South America,
Mhm.
and I was there.
So would you say that was a successful mission for you? Like, did
uh,
you do what was, I mean,
uh,
you
I
probably,
don't think so, because we got there and we got in the firefight, and then I was captured, and then we had to escape. So I don't think we accomplished what we were there to do on that one.
okay.
Yeah,
Interesting though. It's very interesting. And I think these stories allow us
because
to,
these time travel missions, I mean, we're going back to change the timeline.
yeah,
So things that the Mandela effects and stuff that are happening are
right,
because of these time travel missions
right,
that we're doing.
right, right.
So
And again, we talked about the Revolutionary War, but my daughter had told me years ago she didn't think we won World War II. Like we meaning the good guys, if you will.
mhm.
Because look at all, like we've got all their scientists and in our government and
we
our,
we didn't win World War II.
we did not
You
win
know what
World,
I'm
yeah,
saying? That's
yeah,
that's the truth too. And
yeah.
even there are shows like The Man in the High Castle, is actually a show of where it shows that the Nazis won. You know what I'm saying? It shows the reality where the Nazis actually won World War II, and that is actually
Right,
what's really going on.
right.
So it's all out there in plain sight. So, and Philip K. Dick was an author of that. He's done a lot of work,
Right.
Minority Report.
Right, yeah.
All of these really um, uh,
Interesting
it,
science fiction
right.
that's really
That's
true.
that's true. Yeah,
Right.
and he was actually he was in the Pythagorean Illuminati,
Okay.
so he was one of them.
Okay. Yeah, I used to read
He
his stuff years ago.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was he was an enlightened.
Yeah.
So
Excellent. And so I think like listening to these stories helps us to understand the program and what you've been through even more. Right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's what I've been doing, is being able to ungrasp the ungraspable, know the unknowable, explain the unexplainable, to the best of my ability. So and time travel is a hard one to be able to explain,
Yeah.
especially when you're in a paradigm that it doesn't accept its truth as a
Right.
reality.
Right.
But I found out that that's because the whole framework of physics isn't correct.
I know
So
that's not correct, but yet it's still hard to understand the concept of realities, dimensions, time. Like it's hard. How do you like explain it? And I look forward to reading the information that you talked about
yeah,
so I can
okay. Well,
understand it
yeah, you will
more.
get the explanation in what I
Yeah.
presented there.
Yep. Yep. Excellent. Any other stories you want to share?
I mean, let me think here. I mean, not off really the top of my
Okay.
head.
Okay. You thinking more.
Yeah.
Do you have time for some questions?
I do.
All right, so I collected some questions from, let's just say 2 days ago. And I have it the old fashioned way on paper because I've been really busy and I can't remember everything. I don't want to. So, so, so we talked about your meditation and spiritual practices and, is love the commonality connecting all beings in the universe?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Love connects everything together.
right, right.
Yeah.
And so, do other planets or beings, do they also meditate, or
Yes.
do they have a practice that connects them to spirit?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
they do. Yeah,
Okay,
they are able to that's why they don't even need ships. You know, they don't need physical ships. They can just create their own
right,
through a meditative state and then just like
right.
go to wherever they need want to in the universe through that state.
And I would make the assumption that on the planets that they're not controlled like what we are, that's part of their process, like
Right.
as they grow up or whatever,
It is.
it's part of their society that they learn, right?
Yep.
Where in our society,
Yeah.
only the weirdos meditate,
Right,
right?
right. But I'm telling you, in our future, it's people are going to be there's going to be meditation temple. You know, people. It's going to be a practice
Yeah,
that people are engaging in. You
yeah.
know, because it's much needed.
And again, we might not need it in the future because we don't know. Like if we have these, we're going to call them supernatural abilities. If we go back to our natural abilities, maybe we won't need it. And I
Well, I
don't
mean,
know.
right, right. I mean, there is you can be connected to source without meditation
Yeah,
as well. But in this environment, it's been good to be able to
yeah,
have be able to get
yeah,
to that
yeah.
space.
Would the degree of love here now affect the missions and the realities that you go to? Like if you were not as highly evolved as you are, would that affect your missions?
Yes, I believe it would. Decision making,
Right,
morality, would all be affected if I hadn't cultivated
right, right.
the love, you know.
So I'm assuming there's
And
a lot of other super soldiers out there that don't meditate. They come back and they live, we'll call them regular lives. And maybe, and maybe they've got some psychological and emotional trouble. And so if they are on missions, they're probably not going to have the best experiences, is my guess.
mhm,
Would
mhm.
you agree with that?
Yeah, no, that is
Okay.
they're most of the experience. I mean, it's not pretty, you know,
Yeah,
no matter what you're going through,
yeah,
when you're going through a mission.
yeah.
Um, yeah, it's not pretty. So, uh,
So you might be fighting unknown beings or like something really scary looking or strong, big, dangerous, whatever. And it's got to wear you down after a while if you remember it. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
because you remember these memories and then you try to you're living in this life, but you've lived and
Yeah.
you've lived another life and you're trying to make sense
Yep.
of
Yep. Yep.
how it's possible that you've lived two lives.
Yeah.
You know, and even when I got access to my files, you know, that Peter made it he made it pretty simple. He's like, he's like, you're living two lives. He's like, you're living one life regular and one life as a super soldier, you know, and that's what is happening to
Yeah.
us. Is we're living
Yeah.
two lives.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Now, question, King Smarty has told us this is the last cycle, so there's no more reincarnation.
No,
Are you
yeah,
gonna agree with
no,
that?
I can totally agree with
All
this.
right.
Is the last cycle. This is the last war. You know what I'm saying? This is the
This
last.
is it.
This is it.
This is it.
This is it.
Okay, so what about animal souls? What happens with the animals? Like, are they going to still be reincarnated, do you think, or?
Mm, I'm not sure how to. I mean, I think that I'm not sure how to answer that.
Okay, we don't know. Okay,
Yeah, I'm
all
not.
right. Because I think that animals do reincarnate, and they like some animals seem more like clueless than others, and some seem more like they seem special.
Right. There's
So,
they got
yeah,
more
yeah,
underneath. Yeah,
yeah.
I feel that too.
Like so. That's going to be an interesting one that we'll find out the answer to soon. I hope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so, you had said before, if you're out on a mission, it might be a long-term mission. Okay, and you're allowed to have a family on, we'll call it the other side, when you're out on that
Mhm,
mission.
mhm.
So when you come back to this reality, does your family out there remember you? Or what happens to them?
Oh yeah. I don't really know how to answer that. Like, I know you can have influence on wherever it is that you go, whether
Mhm.
it be, having a family, but then when it's time for you to come back or you die on the mission or something, I'm sure I mean, it's just like anything regular, like they know, yeah, they know about, you know, yeah, I'm not sure how to
Okay,
answer
that's a good,
that.
it's a good question. And
Like,
how will we find the answer to that one? We don't know yet.
I'll
So,
think about
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
Some of these, if I just like think about, if I have more time to think about it,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm springing
I'll-
these on you. Are humans the only race used for the 20 and back programs or the super soldier?
that's actually a question I haven't heard, and I am actually not sure about that. But
Okay.
I don't think so because they take other species too, like Bigfoots
They
and stuff like
do.
that. Yeah, they actually are involved with like taking Bigfoots, experimenting on Bigfoots and stuff. So I would say that it's most likely that other species are utilized for 20 and backs as
Okay.
well.
So, when you go out on a mission, you have like a super suit or whatever. What do we call the super suit?
I mean, it's just like a suit.
A suit. But
Yeah,
that allows you special abilities, right?
right, right,
Like you said, you had the nanotech that developed the weapons or whatever.
right, right.
Yeah, you can run fast and you've got like the
Yeah, yeah,
exoskeleton
yeah.
and
It's all nanotech. It's
yeah.
actually called different FEMO and PEMO tech, as well as uh, uh, nanotech is one, because I've learned about this from the files
Uh-huh.
from ACIO. These are actually more advanced version of nanotech
Right.
is FEMOTech and
Okay.
PEMOTech. So
Do you know what that stands for or whatever?
I don't know what that
Okay,
sounds
doesn't
for.
matter.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna say that there's probably other races used in the super
Yeah,
soldier
yeah,
program.
I would say that.
I'm gonna make the assumption though that it's compartmentalized.
Very
Yeah, yeah. So
compartmentalized.
you don't know
Yeah.
everything.
Mhm.
Yeah. So okay. We've got somebody that's very curious about voice to skull technology. Okay. And how do you know that you don't have that, that you don't have something suggesting whatever they want you to know about?
Mhm. Okay, well, here's the thing: is like I've met and come into contact with a lot of people that have
Yeah.
had voice to skull um, committed, done on them, and they do hear voices. They
Yeah.
hear my brother. You got it. Okay, yeah, you got to take that out. Sorry.
Oh,
Anyways,
we're going live, so
like
sorry.
okay, my bad. Like uh, yeah,
Oops.
like I don't like I do have manipulation in my dreams. Like
Hmm.
they'll come into my dreams and
Hmm.
stuff and manipulate my dreams sometimes, and I'll know when they're doing it. I'll know when I'm getting manipulated and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But I know when I'm actually remembering my memories
Yeah.
as opposed to them coming in and manipulating my memories or using voice to skull like to um, make me hear voices or anything like that because I don't have that problem. So I don't hear the voices
Right.
because I just am not haven't had that happen.
Okay, so we talked the other day about you might have a memory, like you said, you had a memory of a hand, but maybe the outside might be blurred or it looks erased or shielded. So those might be manipulated memories.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Those are definitely manipulated memories. You know, screen memories. You can kind of tell are like some of the screen memories I'll also have too is like when I'm on a ship,
Yeah.
I'll be on a bus, a school bus. I actually figured that out, like, cause I'm like, why am I having all these dreams of being on a school bus? You know, and then I actually figured out that that was a screen memory that had been put over that I was actually on a spaceship. So I was able to acknowledge that anytime I was on a school bus, I was actually having a screen memory and I was on a ship.
Right.
And that was, you know, when I actually had, when I first started waking up from this, I had a memory come back where I was sitting in lotus position and I had this interface over my head and a highly technological like device over my head. And I was sitting there and I was flying the ship like in meditation.
Mm.
So and then they say too, like you want to be very focused when you're flying those because they go so fast that you don't want to make them, you don't want to miss a left turn because you'll be off in another
Yep,
galaxy
yep.
or something like that. So
Oh my
I
God.
actually had a memory of piloting craft.
And you've probably done it more than once.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I just can't remember everything
Right,
off the snap, but
Yeah.
it comes back
You know,
as a
you know what happens to me is somebody will ask me a question and I'll be like deer in the headlight, like, and then after the recording or whatever, then it all comes clearly to me because I'm under stress sometimes, you know?
yeah. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
But I've gotten pretty good at answering questions. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And if you don't know, like you can't know everything. Like you're compartmentalized. You do what you're told, your mission, and you don't know about every mission out there naturally. So
Definitely
yeah,
not.
yeah.
Yeah.
So somebody wanted you to explain more about the altars, split consciousness, like kind of more like an overview of how it works and like how it interacts with you.
Mhm.
And I don't know
Mm.
any a better way to explain that.
It's there's a show called Dollhouse. It's called Dollhouse, and actually they show how this process works with MK Ultra and using it to create alters and program them, and then utilize them for missions. Like uh, I don't know how into detail I can go in how it works, but in that show, if people want to see how it works, they can refer to that show.
Okay. So
It's called Dollhouse.
Dollhouse. I've never heard
Yeah,
of
but
it.
you
So
can tell by the name. It's called Dollhouse for a reason. It's because people are basically dolls, you know,
synthetic.
that
Yeah.
they're, you know, being used for these missions and alters are being programmed. You know, whether it's like you got to be a fighter pilot or you got to be a scientist or you got to be whatever it is, like you'll get the program
Yeah.
loaded up and then you'll get sent in, and that's how the alters work.
Okay. Okay. So if anyone can look that show up, that might give them that answer that they're looking for.
Yes, yes.
Because there's so much disclosure in these, especially science fiction shows, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah. Like most of it's truth. It's just that they make us think it's, you know, just something they pulled out of thin air.
Right.
So you had said a couple of days ago that the Arcturians were helping to heal you.
Mhm.
Okay. And what do you do to ensure your missions don't negatively impact your physical and mental well-being on this side,
Mhm.
like this reality?
Well, that my spiritual work
Yeah.
is what I do. Because obviously before I was doing that, I was just confused, not understanding
Yeah.
stuff. I was angry, frustrated, all of that stuff. But then as I was did the spiritual work, that allowed me to heal. You know, starting it probably allowed them to work on me more,
Right.
to help me integrate all of
Yeah.
this stuff.
Yeah. Are you in touch with other soldiers here? And do they do the same kind of practices or are they just going about, we'll call it regular life?
Yeah, I know a lot of other super soldiers.
Yeah.
Like I have only found like that I mean they're doing their own things and stuff. Everybody's doing their own things, but um I have found that like I'm one of the rare ones that have like been able to have a pretty good healing on myself,
Yeah.
you know, because a lot of these a lot of them are not okay.
Yeah.
You know, and most are not okay at all.
Yeah.
So I found I'm kind of like a rare case with my, and I think it has to do with like the age of my soul and like how many times I've done this. I'm like an older being, so I have more experience.
And also it seems like you were really well trained in your childhood and all of that in multiple ways. But just think of the trauma the average, we'll call them regular human soldier goes through. They go into war and they come back and they're very stressed and they have all sorts of trouble in their lives. Now consider a super soldier going out to multiple planets, seeing races that they've never come in contact with and doing all these missions. It's got to be amplified
Yeah,
so much.
that's another level because I mean I've
Yeah.
even had the actual experience of going over to war, you know, in Iraq and being a Marine and having that like actual, you know, PTSD from
Yeah.
seeing things
Yeah.
over there and you know, kind of like figuring out like why is this going on?
Right.
Why are we doing what we're doing? Am is what I did right, you know, and then battling with that, you know, and then you take it to a super soldier level, that's going to be obviously another level.
Yeah, that's got to be on steroids.
And then it's
Yeah.
even worse though that because you know even veterans that get treatment for PTSD, it's not very good. And then you get the super soldiers that don't get any treatment. You know, they don't get any acknowledgement for anything that they've been in.
Right.
You know, so that's unfortunate. But it's kind of like it's a self. You know, you know, you got to just rely on yourself to be able to
Right.
to heal yourself and other people too, because find the right groups, you know,
Yeah.
to support you.
Well, the super soldiers may not even know what's happened to them, you know, so they come back and they're a little bit messed up and they don't even know why.
Yeah, most of the time that's exactly how it is.
Yeah.
You know, they'll get taken and then everything wiped and then they'll
Yeah.
get put back like
Yeah.
what happened?
Yeah.
You know, and then they're left to figure out what happened. And so that's why I'm it's I am glad that I can do this.
Yeah.
To help people that want to
Yeah.
be able to understand.
We're very grateful for you being here and telling your story. So thank you for what you've done.
Thank you, Sue. I
So-
appreciate it.
Two more questions, and I'm going to see if this next one is going to be, I need to smooth out the wording, but is there a program that keeps you in timelines or programs of pain, based on your natal chart?
Mm-hmm.
And it keeps you from using your abilities, basically. Does that make any sense?
Well, I'm sure they, you know, utilize the natal chart, you know, against you, and in whatever program it is to
Yeah.
keep you in a time loop because that's what they're
Right.
doing to everybody
Right.
is keeping us in a time loop through the mind control and all that. So I would say that sure, yeah,
Yeah.
I would say that that to keep you in a program of pain and
Yeah.
time loop.
I think that's really what our society is about, right? But how does someone switch out of that?
Through the spiritual work. Like
Right.
it's a hard process to be able to liberate yourself and free yourself, but that's what we're here to do. You know, and the first part of liberation is realizing that you're a slave.
Yeah.
So you gotta free yourself from that.
It's like those 12-step programs. The first step is acknowledgement
Yes.
of what it is, right? So first we have to realize that we're in a cycle that we need to break out of.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
and maybe those words aren't the same for everyone, but yeah.
Yeah, no, we're definitely out of it though, because in March or April of 2021 is when I heard that the Matrix went down. You know, the Matrix was brought, the Matrix that had been holding us in the false consciousness and in slavery had been brought down. So now we're not even, now it's gone.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think that, you know, again, King Smarty has said, we're going to be given access to our true history and true knowledge because our our history and knowledge of our society has been wiped out multiple times. We don't know what the map is. We don't know like the true math, the true science, the true anything. So we're going to be given access to all of that information very soon.
Mhm.
And that's going to make a big difference.
Yes, it
We
is.
have to get there, but we're walking into it.
Yep, the quantum leap is
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah.
The quantum leap is coming.
Yeah. All right. So this was from a viewer. So her father was in the Korean War and did cargo flights between Korea and Japan. Korean War was a 3-year war, but the remainder of his 20-year career was in Cherry Point, North Carolina, and El Toro, California. So she wants to know if those places have any significance. Like, why was he in the military for the next 17 years if he was only utilized in war for 3? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm not sure what, the nature of his service was
Yeah.
for the years he wasn't in
Yeah.
war. But I do know that El Toro, California, actually my uncle was stationed there, and he's obviously part of the program.
Yeah.
So there could have been some involvement, some that, but I'm not sure
Right.
how to.
I mean, you couldn't really know the specifics, but I
Right.
guess they were just trying to feel out if there was any, that place had any recognition for you, like if
Mhm.
maybe that's a place where a lot of super soldiers operate out of, or
Yeah.
there's training programs or whatever going
Yeah,
on.
yeah, that's my uncle was there
Yeah.
in El Toro, so I know that there's they all they're full of secrets everywhere, so
And I really don't think the location matters that much, really.
yeah.
Like for anything, you can be accessed from anywhere.
Right.
Don't you agree?
Yes, you can be
Yeah.
accessed from anywhere at any time.
At any time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Is there anything else you want to tell us or say today, regarding our conversation, or anything you want to leave the viewer with?
Oh yeah. I've just I thank you so much for letting me get out my story, and actually, and when I say story, it's not a story, it's a revelation. But I appreciate that, and I just always have, throughout all the years I've been doing this, I've always had a positive, inspirational message, to just keep holding on, and to keep having, trust that the process is happening, the plan is unfolding, and that soon we will be out of the murk in the mirror, and we will be over the ditch, to the other side.
Yeah.
So just as long as we are alive, there's hope. So
Well, we can see, those watching this video now can see and feel stuff happening out there. We know it's happening. We see it. It's just it's not being reported properly. So that's going to change very soon.
yeah.
Oh, it looks like we're just going to have a special guest. So
What's up? Special guest.
Uh-oh, looks like we got another special guest.
any words that you want? Oh, any words you want to give us?
Well,
Another, hey, baby.
full
Right.
exposure, disclosure, all of it's happening.
Yeah.
All of it. If you've been listening to what I've been saying over the years, he's validating a lot of it, not understanding his full role yet.
Independently.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
And
he's
there's going to be more. And more and more and more
Yeah,
and more.
And you're validating it for me.
That's right. That's right. That's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Love you guys. Gotta go. Daddy duty.
Literally daddy duty. Well, thank you so much for everything.
I love you
All
guys.
right. All right, we're good?
Yeah.
Thank you
sounds
so
good.
much
Yeah,
for
thank you,
being
Sue.
here and telling us your story.
Thank you
Appreciate it very much. Okay, bye-bye, you guys. And now I gotta see where to turn it off. There we go. Sorry, guys.